Hawks fans, how y'all doing? Welcome back to Hawks Digest. And today, hey man, it seems like the Hawks are planning something big. I have new news regarding our Atlanta Hawks. Some big news going on out here. But before I do that, of course, take off your shoes, leave on your socks. Hawks update, multiple updates coming right at you guys for today. Three different topics, one big topic, one that is also a big topic, honestly, when I think about it, and then also just like a small topic that is considered a rumor. So I got topics, I got rumors, I got draft picks. Oh my. Hey, let's get into it. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who is a part of Hawks Digest. Again, we are reaching new heights. We are over the 1,300 mark, marching closer to 1,400, and we are reaching a new audience. So that means our 60-40, which was climbing, has altered just a little bit. It is 36.7% who is subscribed and 63.3% who is not. And if you are in that 60 percentile, please do yourself a favor and us by coming over and subscribing to Hawks Digest when you need that Hawks news. Now, let's get into it. We have Hawks front office update. And this update is coming from a guy who is well known in the NBA world. It is Mr. Zach Klein of WSB. He is reporting that, per multiple NBA sources, the Atlanta Hawks are casting a very wide net in their search for team president. Now, in a previous video, I've already outlined that Bob Myers is a guy that Walter illustrated about Elton Brand. He made a video. Make sure you check that out. That he was talking about Elton Brand. I mentioned Bob Myers and Tim Connolly. But Zach Klein is saying that the Hawks have cast this wide net, and one name that is very familiar to Hawks fans, former GM Danny Ferry. Danny Ferry will interview for the job along with Monty McClair, Calvin Booth, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, and like I said, Elton Brand, amongst others. Now, guys, it's all depending on how you're looking at it from this standpoint. Now, you look at Monty McClair. Now, he is a former GM of the year, former, being with the Sacramento Kings. And you kind of look at that Sacramento Kings franchise, you kind of got to side eye them a little bit. Just because, the moves that they've made, the decisions they've made within the front office, how they dig their past coach, questionable decisions. And as far as like Monty, he's an experienced GM, but honestly, I'm not even going to be long-winded about this. He's not necessarily the guy that I'm looking for, that I will be confident in to have those relationships to possibly make the moves that I need done. Do I think that he did I think he got a fair shake in the Sacramento? I mean, they decided to part both ways in 2025, but did he get a fair shake? That's questionable. We know their head coach didn't get a fair shake. Just finding out about being fired like on a team plane or on a plane away from a meeting is just crazy. But either way it go, like I said, that is another option. Again, I'm not too sold on that option though. But we also have more options. Calvin Booth. Calvin Booth, that is the GM, former GM of the Denver Nuggets. Now he did bring in KCP, and that helped so the Denver Nuggets, to go to that championship run, get that championship. But also, there's some people that feel like he ran that franchise into the ground. Subjective. It also is funny because Calvin Booth, he was going to the coach Mike Malone and saying, "Hey, I would like for you to play the young guys." Mike Malone said, "Okay, respectfully, I'm going to play Russell Westbrook. I'm going to play some of these veterans because I can trust those guys that they know what they're doing. I don't have to necessarily hold anyone's hand." And Calvin Booth was like, "Well, hey, basically, how do we know what we have if we never play them?" So that disconnect right there is honestly what got ultimately what got both of them fired, so along with, of course, moves and decisions, of course, that was made from the front office, but that was, that was again a disconnect that you did not have. You had a disconnect between the coach and the GM. That's something you cannot have. That's the point that I was trying to make. Um, as for Calvin Booth, I mean, we know one thing: if he comes in, he's going to ask Quin Snyder to play those rookies. That's for sure. Calvin Booth, I'm not all out on Calvin Booth, but if we can see if we can get a better option, then so be it. But I feel more confident about Calvin Booth than I would say Monty McClair. Well, but again, we shall see. Next guy that was on that list that I want to talk about, Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Now, former Hawk, of course, I've been playing a few seasons for the Atlanta Hawks. He is the president of the G League, and he has some form of relationships, I believe so, in this league. But you also got to look at it like this too. This would be his first NBA, it's a GM head coaching, head GM position. And is he going to cater to the head coach? Is he going to cater to the front office? Like, what is he going to do? Some people could be possibly worried about, how much power will he have? How much more of, like, will he be a yes man, et cetera, et cetera? Those different things are going on. And of course, well, as far as how I feel about it, I don't think we should go after a guy who hasn't already had a previous GM experience. We're trying to do something different. And even though I do want the Hawks to try to go after someone new, something fresh, a new idea that hasn't been tried in Atlanta, not that idea. Not a first time GM who's, I mean, even though he's doing good work down there at the G League, this is a new animal. And I don't want to put that new animal in the hands of Sharif Abdur-Rahim respectfully, only just because this would be his first time. And of course, I have to address the elephant in the room, Mr. Daniel Ferry. Danny Ferry, man. It's so much wrapped around Danny Ferry, and it all depends on how you look at it. Now, Danny Ferry was the previous GM of the Atlanta Hawks. Back in 2014, it was a conversation that was leaked from Danny Ferry. Danny Ferry was discussing Luol Deng, who at the time was a free agent, I believe, and there was a scouting report on him, and Ferry read it aloud at the scouting report stating that Deng has a little African in him. And then he also went off of to say that Luol Deng looked like someone who would have a nice store out front, but sell you counterfeit stuff out of the back. And these comments were condemned as racially offensive. It was offensive. People were upset. It was an uproar. It was just a big mess, and it was surrounding around the Hawks. Also, we got to also think about Bruce Levison, who was former majority owner of the Hawks. This guy, he was expressing his concern over the team's predominantly black fan base and suggested changes to attract more white fans. And ultimately, he ended up selling the stakes to the team. He ended up selling his stakes. So it's a lot wrapped around that whole scenario. Some people are still butthurt about it. Me personally, I don't have anything personal against Danny Ferry. Again, I'm a guy that wants to try something new, maybe shake something up and see if something else can shake. But we do know that Atlanta is familiar, and they like to kind of go with the reruns, the retreads, or just, try to see if new things can work with possibly an old flame. I mean, look at the Atlanta Braves. Look how many guys that they send off and then bring back. Jesse Chavez, Eddie Rosario, etc. Falcons, they done the same. Jeff Ulbrich, Raheem Morris. This right here wouldn't surprise me if Danny Ferry ended up being the Atlanta president of basketball operations. Now, he's a basketball mind. And the biggest elephant in the room, him and Quin Snyder are like this. Like, can you see that? They're like this. they're cool. They were dorm mates back in Duke. Cause yes, some people may not know Quin Snyder used to play basketball. So they were teammates back at Duke. They played together. They have a close relationship, and this would be almost like a match made in heaven for those two because you have your GM and Danny Ferry, your head coach is Quin Snyder, two guys who are very close friends, and two guys who are college roommates, dorm mates, and played on the same basketball team because they both played for Coach K. So, with all that, wrapped up in it, guys, don't be surprised if you see somebody like Danny Ferry as our new GM. Now, before I get up out of here, guys, because I know I've already been talking for a while, so just breaking down each one. Hopefully, you guys are still with me because, again, like I said, I had multiple updates. Now, these two updates are going to be quick. We already know, guys, that we now have the Lakers pick. The Lakers pick because of the Minnesota Timberwolves eliminating the Los Angeles Lakers. The Atlanta Hawks will have the Lakers pick, and it will fall around the 22nd pick in this year's draft. That's, it's already set in stone now, so now we have that under our belt. Of course, for those who can remember, that whole draft came from when the Lakers traded for Anthony Davis. The Pelicans received Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, the number 4 pick that ended up turning into DeAndre Hunter for the Atlanta Hawks. 2 first-round picks, cash considerations, and of course, like I said, one of those picks that they had to send off is now coming to Atlanta. Last update, and this is, like I said, it's more so like a rumor, but it's also catering to somebody else who used to be with the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, bet you didn't think you'd see this guy so fast again. Landry Fields. The report on Landry Fields that outside of the fact of, moves that he made, decisions he made, some draft picks, also, trades, everything, salary cap, everything. There's also a rumor, and it was also put out by Hoops Wire, that another reason why Landry Fields could possibly be out of Atlanta is because he would not go to Quin Snyder and say, hey, Quin, play the young guys. Play the young guys more. And you look at it, the whole thing with Zaccharie Risacher in the Rookie of the Year. Maybe if he would have had more minutes in the beginning, maybe he becomes Rookie of the Year. Who knows? At the end of the day, Quin Snyder, and this is a fact, that he has a reputation of possibly not playing the rookies, not playing these guys, and then just letting the veterans, to run amok pretty much. And Landry Fields did not have, or it's reported that he did not have that confidence to go to Quin and say, play the young guys on a consistent basis. Now, again, if Calvin Booth comes in, we know that he would tell Quin to play them. Danny Ferry, we don't know if he would have more leniency because him and Quin are like this. They're best buds, close relationship, former dorm mates, again, former teammates. So we don't know. We just don't know. But I had to report it that it is a report out there saying that it may be a part of the reason why Landry Fields is no longer with the Atlanta Hawks. He would not tell Quin to play the young guys. If this is true, that is a reason to possibly, another reason to out him in Atlanta. And of course, like I said, with Zaccharie Risacher, he didn't win the Rookie of the Year. Maybe you bring on more minutes. Honestly, I figured that they would bring Zaccharie Risacher on along slowly. And in the second half of the season, you see more of a pop. He will continue to grow, and we will see what he be next year. But guys, that's my time. I just wanted to bring you guys those updates. Again, so the Hawks, they're throwing out that net, that drag net, trying to see who they can ring in for basketball operations. The Hawks have the Lakers pick 22nd overall. And of course, Landry Fields, you may should have went to Quin Snyder, man, about possibly playing those rookies. And also making other moves that, to benefit the Hawks in a great way. Either way, salute to you and good luck on you and your future endeavors. But until next time, guys, peace and blessings to you all, and to you all, I'll holler.